The score.
And YouTube has already hit us with a copyright claim. Thank
Already.
you. God, those robots are quick.
It's not long enough. We're good.
We're good.
Oh, yeah, you try to play that fair use game with them. See
Yeah.
how far it gets you.
Yeah, it's just an automatic robot nonsense.
But now, seeing as which they've changed their rules and we don't have 2 million followers in like a week's time, like, apparently we can't get money from it anyway. So
yeah, right. So, yeah. Thanks
Thanks
you,
a lot, Logan Paul.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome into That Movie Show. I'm Mike Wendt, Liam Stryker.
Yes.
Twitter, Twitch,
Facebook.
all kinds of things. It's all right there.
All of it.
It's all on the screen.
It's all over.
Yeah, we're trying to make it easy for ourselves. We don't have to do much talking about the bullshit.
Yeah,
Just get right into it. We are looking at, as the music would tell you, Get Out, Oscar-nominated 2017 movie. Was released on February 24th, 2017. Written and directed by Jordan Peele. Stars Daniel Kaluuya. Am I saying that name right? Kaluuya, I think. Kaluuya.
I think it's Kaluuya.
Kaluuya?
Yeah.
I've heard it pronounced a couple different ways.
Kaluuya is the guy from Full House.
Yes, that's Dave.
Yeah.
That's Dave Kaluuya. This is Daniel Kaluuya, and also Allison Williams, Bradley Whitford, Catherine Keener, and we'll get into how wonderful the casting really is of this movie. But it's one of those things, and I watched it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because of course it's getting all the award buzz.
Yep.
And then I watched it again for a refresher this morning, and it's one of those movies. The best way to describe it is there's so much reflecting you do after you finish watching it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many seeds planted throughout the movie. So I feel that we're going to do a lot of jumping around while talking about this. Like, we'll see something here. It's like, oh, yeah, but in this part at the end, it comes back full circle.
Right. Out of the spoiler alert for me is that this is nominated for Best Picture.
It is.
And this is my pick for Best Picture this year.
Do you have the other movies?
I can pull that up really quickly, but the reason why I like this movie so much is that I think that critical response and how people, like the general public, viewed this movie is important to what the Best Picture is. Like, a few years ago, Meryl Streep won Best Actress for The Iron Lady.
Yes.
And nobody saw The Iron Lady, and everybody that didn't like it. So you can't be the Best Actress.
They were giving Meryl Streep an award because she's Meryl Streep.
Right. That's exactly what it was. But it's like, you can't be the Best Actress if nobody liked your movie.
It's kind of like when Daniel Day-Lewis does a movie, he wins an Oscar.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
You don't even have to see the movie. He doesn't actually have to finish the movie, as long as he's in the movie.
Yeah, right. As long as he's in the picture. So,
method act.
Everybody loves this movie. Like, anybody that's seen this movie, and anybody that has watched this movie loves this movie, and a lot of people did. It was at 100%. It might still be in the high 90s.
There are 9 movies nominated for Best Picture.
Yes.
I feel it's too much.
Yeah, well, they expanded it
a few years ago, right?
Yeah, because it was 5, and then they went up to 8, and then I think at one point there was like 11.
Now I don't think there's like even a limitation. It's just like, here,
yeah,
we're just going to keep going until we're done nominating things.
Right. This is who it is, and there you go.
All right. Anyway, so the other ones, along with Get Out, that are nominated this year: Shape of Water.
Yep.
Darkest Hour.
Yep.
Dunkirk.
Yep.
Phantom Thread.
Yep.
3 Billboards Outside of what is it?
Ebbing, Missouri.
Ebbing, Missouri. Great title. The Post. Call Me by Your Name, and Lady Bird. Have you seen, outside of Get Out, any of them?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw Dunkirk.
That one I've been trying to watch so many times.
Yeah.
It was playing in 70mm in Somerville.
Ooh.
And I tried twice and just got tied up with other shit and couldn't get to it. I was pissed off about that. So then, flying down to Disney this past time.
Yep.
And I was in one of the new JetBlue planes.
Yeah.
I think I've told this story maybe.
Yes.
And so I'm on one of the new planes. It's great. They got new seats, great headrests that are adjustable, and their entertainment system is wonderful. It's like a library of like 30 movies.
Right.
But we're going down on Christmas Eve, so I'm like, all right, I'll watch A Christmas Story and Elf on my way down, get into the spirit. But as I'm scrolling through, I'm like, oh shit, they got Dunkirk. I know what I'm watching on my plane ride home because it was like just the right runtime.
Right.
Coming home,
not on there.
Old plane. I watched Lucky Logan, or Logan Lucky, with Channing Tatum, which was okay. It was like a redneck Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
but it was like it's been avoiding me this whole fucking time.
It was fun. I did see it on a plane, and I think that there is something a little lacking on.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna, as soon as I saw it, it's like, oh, it's playing in 70 millimeter.
Yeah.
This has to be something like you have to see on a big screen, which is why I'm hoping they'll kind of, with award season coming up, kind of throw it out for like 1 or 2 days in one of the theaters. Something like that.
Hopefully.
What about the other ones?
Call Me by Your Name is good. It's very Oscar baity.
Yeah.
It's very Oscar baity.
I'm assuming the Post is too, just by the cast.
Yeah, the Post is
Have
as
you seen
well.
that one?
I haven't seen the Post, but I also heard the Post wasn't good.
That's also what I heard. Yeah,
And then Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri
has won everything.
It's very good.
Okay.
It is a very, very, very good movie.
It looks like a movie I would enjoy.
Yeah, I think you would. There's a lot of sass, and
It seems
makes you
almost
feel-
Fargo-esque, almost
Yeah, a little bit.
Cohen-esque.
A little bit.
And maybe that's just a Frances McDormand connection, but
yeah.
what about Lady Bird? Because that's getting like everybody's
I
praise.
heard it's really good. I haven't seen it.
Okay. Any others you've seen?
That's it.
Okay, those are the ones you've seen.
Those are the ones.
Daniel Kaluuya is also nominated for Best Actor.
Yep.
For this, let's see. Writing. I don't see any writing nominations.
The only
That's
thing-
adapted screenplay. It's probably for
The only thing is that he played basically the same character he played in that
the
Black
yes,
Mirror.
Black
episode.
Mirror. It was like the first one too.
Yeah,
It was a great episode.
yeah. Bill and I watched it.
Yeah, we did.
Jordan Peele is nominated for Best Director.
Yeah,
And is it for original screenplay? Let me see.
it's a hell of a debut for a
My God, yes.
director.
And for his first movie.
And a guy
can't
who's
find it. I'm not gonna keep
guy who's known for comedy.
And that's something I wanted to get into because I feel a lot of people are getting kind of confused by it. It's one of those movies that it was in the best comedy or musical category for the awards.
Right.
People have said, I've heard people say it's a comedy. I'm like, no, it's absolutely not.
Oh, it's absolutely
It's a fucking
not.
horror movie.
Yeah.
Just because there's one, and this is my argument. There is one character that is extremely funny in this movie.
Yes.
But he's the comic relief.
Right, he
Which
is
every
not-
horror movie has.
Yeah, he is not the main. His TSA buddy.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
He's not the main character.
Laurel Howery, I believe is his name.
Okay.
He plays Rod, his best friend, who is a
Yeah.
TSA agent.
Yeah.
And
Takes
yes,
it the most seriously.
It is awesome. But does he?
Kinda.
He likes having the air of power about him.
Right.
But he's also standing there making cell phone calls while there's a line of people waiting to get through.
Yeah.
So he's not really like
TSA.
He likes to
Gets
wield
shit done.
likes to wield his power when he can.
Yeah.
Because it's cool. But I don't think he
Right.
actually takes the job too serious.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it.
But and absolutely, like he's a comic relief and he's funny, but that doesn't make a comedy.
Right.
This is very much, and I love the other thing. It's almost like when people are talking about it, whether it's critics or awards or whatever, they're afraid to say the word horror.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a supernatural. It's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that a horror movie is not only getting nominated for Best Picture for an Oscar, but is a damn good contender to
Right.
win Best Picture.
Right.
At the very least, I see Jordan Peele probably winning.
Yeah.
I
It's
couldn't
tough
find
because
if it's for original.
it's tough because Jordan Peele is also going against Guillermo del Toro
He is
for Shape of Water.
He is going against let's see, Guillermo del Toro, the Lady Bird director Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's a tough look. Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan for Dunkirk, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread. I mean, it's stacked, but it's one of those things. Again, I haven't seen any of the other movies. And that usually falls where I'm guessing, like, I want that one to win because that's the only one I've seen.
Yeah.
After all the nonsense and the controversy with the Golden Globes, is there any chance Greta Gerwig doesn't win that?
Yeah, I think she's going to win it based on that nonsense. But
Go on.
there were no female directors nominated,
And everybody got called out.
and everybody got called out. And so, she deserves
So who filled her spot then?
a Spielberg.
Okay. Well, okay.
Right.
Again, like we just said.
But he has a penis.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. And that's wrong.
Yep.
But that's the thing is that she is deserving to be in there.
Sure.
I think Guillermo del Toro.
It is nominated for Best Original Screenplay.
Guillermo del Toro should win it. Mm-hmm. But I would also like to see Jordan Peele do it. But I do think that it's Guillermo del Toro's to lose.
Well, the fact he's also up for writing, and above all, and again, it's tough because looking at these movies and not even really seeing them, but just knowing the reception that they've gotten, that's even original screenplay has 3 billboards. It has Shape of Water, The Big Sick, and Lady Bird. So I mean, that's a fucking tough category.
The movies this year are far closer than they were last year. in terms of how good everything is.
And no like blockbustery movies.
No,
you
no,
know,
there's none.
They're all extremely independent,
Right.
Which again I like. It just makes it a little bit more difficult to seek them out at times.
Right, because they didn't have a wide enough release, or
outside of like Dunkirk
and Get Out.
Get Out, yeah.
Those are the only two that really had a wide release.
Yeah.
Everything else was, and maybe The Post, but yeah, just those. They were. That's it.
Well, Tom Hanks, I mean, that guy puts butts in seats.
Yeah, he does. Even if it's a bad movie.
Right.
Bad movie, good butts.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a very tight, very tough Oscar race this year. I wanted to win something.
Yeah.
You know, just for the fact that it's a genre movie, it's an independent movie. It's from the company Blumhouse was the ones behind it, who are really killing it now. They're the ones behind the next year's new Halloween movie.
That's right.
They basically got their start with the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yes.
And after, you know, three was decent. 4 kind of fell off the rails a little bit, and then they just kind of went down a weird rabbit hole of almost where the Purge is at right now.
We're just gonna make one for Halloween every year.
Yeah, it's gonna
be cheap to make.
It fell into the Saw thing where it's like every year, yes, we need another Saw movie until we find something else, and then that was replaced by Paranormal Activity.
Right.
And it seems like now that's replaced
The Conjuring
by the Purge. The Conjuring's had a few too.
Or what is it? The Conjuring, is that the one with Annabelle?
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like there's
been 4 of those.
Yeah.
I was good at one. I thought the first one was great, but I didn't need any more of that story.
I get that one confused with the other one with the old lady, and they just had a third one.
Oh.
Poltergeist?
No, not Poltergeist. But
is it one of those exorcism ones?
Yeah, maybe. There's like an older lady, and she comes in to like help the kid, and there's a.
I can vaguely see the commercial in my head.
I can't remember the actor's name, but he's more of a comedy actor that was in like this serious role.
Yeah.
And there's like an evil nun or something.
There always is.
Yeah, there's always an evil nun or something.
Always an evil nun.
Yeah. So
the award race is tough. I mean, again, I haven't seen the movies,
right?
But just what this movie represents to me, I wanted to win something, and something prominent, not like it got best costume design or something like, which is important, but it's like I wanted to win either a screenplay, director, actor, or best picture would be phenomenal for this.
Yeah.
Because it would it's almost like waving the flag for those horror movies. Especially, it's not a major, like we said, not a major studio horror movie.
Right.
You know, this is as independent as it gets. You know, he made the movie and then sold the movie. It wasn't like, we got. I mean, Jesus, they had to fucking put a Windows phone in there for Christ's sakes just to get the movie done.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
To get a little product placement in there.
Right.
So let's get into it. Let's jump right into the movie. Get Out.
Yes.
So we start off, we got Chris and Rose. They are packing for a trip.
Yep.
And we find out that they're going to her parents' house because as he's packing and she's kind of, doing the, the girlfriend thing of, do you have this? Do you have your toothbrush? Do you have your underwear? Do you have your clean clothes?
Right.
Do you have your... And he's just like, yep, check, got it. And he's got this air about him that he's not really comfortable, and it's almost like he carries that with him throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And it goes from being not really comfortable with his surround or what's going to happen to just a look of untrusting, but in the calmest way possible.
Yeah.
Like the way they portray Chris is amazing because it's rare that you see a character like this portrayed this way.
Right.
Like almost every scene, you want that character to be like the stereotypical standoffish character.
Right.
And he just sits and
right.
de-escalates every awkward situation so well.
And it's great because he's so relatable, right? And while we'll get into this movie and like how it plays with race relations and everything,
as you do,
but you can, as a white guy, I can sit there and still associate myself and like empathize with him, and he carries that throughout the whole movie, even though he's dealing with situations that I've never dealt with before. No. And so, I think that's the charm of his characterization, is that he's so relatable, and he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy, and there's nothing extraordinary about him.
Right.
And his girlfriend is every girlfriend,
America's sweetheart.
you know, and it's just like and so it was just like, yeah, you're gonna meet her parents for the first time and you don't want to.
Right. And actually, we skipped over the actual opening, which opened another example of this is a fucking horror movie. There's a guy walking down the street.
He's lost.
And he's lost. He's on the phone with somebody.
Yeah.
He's looking for the house in a very black guy in a very white suburban neighborhood.
Right.
And he's being followed by this car. And the car is playing what it was like. It wasn't Over the Rainbow, but it was kind of like that type of whimsical 50s musical type of song. I forget exactly what it was. And he's assessing the situation. All right, creepy car following me, dark neighborhood. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be that one. You know, I'm not gonna be the guy that opens up the horror movie dead.
Yeah, right.
It's like I'm just gonna turn around. But again, very de-escalating. Not turn around. Yo, motherfucker. It's
right.
I'm just gonna turn around, keep walking the other direction calmly. All of a sudden, the car stops, doors open. He's like, motherfucker, and he gets choked out.
Right, he gets choked out.
Which again, there's so many seeds, and we're gonna jump around a little bit. And by the way, if you're watching this and you haven't seen the movie, we're doing spoilers. It just is. It is what it is. So. A few notes that come back later in the movie. First of all, we realize that later in the movie we figure out, okay, well, this is obviously her brother.
Yep.
And because her and her brother are the ones recruiting for her father, used to be grandfather's experiments in this weird community of people.
This cult.
Yes. And we realize during that awkward drinks after dinner conversation, the brother has extremely different methods of recruiting than the sister does.
Yeah, he abducts him.
He straight up chokes him out.
Yeah.
You know, we also get the call back at the very end of the movie because he's wearing that mask.
Yep.
And the mask is in the car when Chris takes his car.
Yep.
And this is the first time we see Andre, who is played by Lakeith Stanfield, who apparently I haven't seen the show, but I've heard great things about it. He's on Atlanta.
Yeah,
Donald Glover's.
I haven't seen it either, but I've heard great things. I love Donald Glover.
He played Snoop Dogg in Straight Outta Compton.
Yep,
and
which was the best picture that year.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That was the best.
That was the best picture of the year. Now he looks extremely different. Almost too different from when we see him a little bit later.
Yeah, well, because
to which you almost don't get that mental callback, like, oh, that was the guy.
Yeah,
because you're still trying to wrap your head around what the fuck is happening.
Well, it's funny because he looks stereotypical African American at the beginning.
Yeah,
and he appears gentrified.
Very
gentrified.
He is.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Because he's a white guy. But it's amazing because you do disassociate. You don't see him for so long. He's never brought up.
The first time watching it, I did not make the connection
that
this guy is that guy. Honestly, until afterwards, and I started looking online and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, that was
yeah. See, I made the connection when he was just like, I knew that guy. I knew him. Like, this is when they
see. I got that part, but I still didn't connect that it was him. And maybe it was I didn't get a good look at him in the opening thing or stuff, and his voice is completely different. Like, he's all soft spoken, and he's an old white man.
Yeah, he's an old white guy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so the brother's abducting people, and she, which we find out, is wooing men
and women.
So she's cool that way as well.
Yeah.
So she's getting into relationships basically, and bringing the significant other to meet the parents.
Right.
So we're driving. We're on the road heading to Allison Williams. Rose is her name again?
Yeah, Rose.
Rose's parents' house, and we get our big horror movie jump scare moment.
Yep, the deer.
Bang! Knock a deer in the highway. And that brings us upon now the deer. Well, okay, it's a horror movie trope. Let's get the jump scare out of the way.
Right.
This scene is more important again than most people would probably give it credit for, because a lot of this shit comes up throughout the course of the movie.
Right.
Because the cop.
Yes.
So the cop shows up. He's explaining to Rose they should have called animal control, etc., etc., etc. Just a guy that doesn't want to do paperwork. Understandable.
Yeah, I never want to do paperwork.
Never. And so he takes a look and sees Chris.
Right.
And he's like, "All right, dude, let me see your license." And now Allison Williams, or Rose, gets all defensive. She starts mouthing off to the cop. Now he's very cordial. He's like, okay, here's my license. He's just
he's cool with it.
Yes sir, yes.
This
what
is
you
what
do
it
with
is.
a cop.
Right. This is what it is.
It is what it is. He's gonna look. I didn't do anything wrong, so he's just gonna take my thing, take my name, etc., etc. Now, this poses a number of issues. First of all, because it's a significant clash of cultures.
Right.
Where she has no problem popping on her chest and just mouthing straight off to a police officer, where he is just like, just take the license, don't make any sudden movements.
Right. Here you
how most people would handle a cop. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and start mouthing off to a cop. He asks for my license, I'm going to give him my license, even if he has no legal right to do so.
Right.
The outcome, if you argue, is going to be
far worse than
not.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we see that. Now, on the surface, you're to believe
it's a race thing.
Kind of, but you're also to believe, okay, this is endearing us to Rose,
right?
Where she's sticking up for her black boyfriend. She's,
right,
she's waving that flag. He didn't do anything wrong. You
have
no
right.
So we get that side of things. So that's kind of lowering our guard down for Rose.
Right. When in reality...
But what we actually find out later in the movie...
she doesn't want a paper trail for him to be there.
Right. Because if he goes missing, as he's going to go missing, if the plan goes through, you don't want all of a sudden a missing persons thing to pop up and his name pops as a hit. Oh, I got him on this.
He was with her.
He was with her, connecting the dots, and all of a sudden their utopia is fucked up.
Yeah.
So there's that bigger meaning behind it. So we get to the parents' house.
Oh, yes. And they are super nice.
They are so white.
They are so white.
I mean, they are the stereotypical "I have 3 black friends" type of white.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not racist. I have 3 black friends. They come over to my house once a year.
Yeah, right. This leads us to another moment where there's some meaning, but other deeper meaning, where the dad starts to talk about how he would kill every deer if he could.
Oh my God, it was hilariously racist.
It was.
It's like, wow, he's looking right at this guy and using deer as black people.
Yeah,
straight up. Mind you,
and foreshadowing.
Yes, making Bradley Whitford one of the greatest ironic deaths in the history of not just this.
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods. He goes the whole movie talking about the love of the merman. Love of the merman. Who kills him? The merman.
Yeah.
In this movie, he starts out, oh, fuck the deers. I hate the deers. One dead down and 70,000 to go.
Right.
And how does he die? By getting a deer head stabbed right through his neck.
Yeah, right.
By the way, how did he not hear him running down the fucking hallway?
Oh, I know.
Full steam.
Well, also, how did that? That's
We're gonna jump around a bit, just mind you.
That's a very cumbersome weapon. A stuffed deer head.
I mean, that was a stereotypical message.
Yeah, right.
You know, irony.
Yeah, right. It was pure irony.
It was a storytelling thing, but yeah. Running full steam with a deer head down a hallway, an old type of house, you would be hitting wood.
Yeah, right.
You know,
weird basement.
He wouldn't be that like, oh, I'm just going to scan. I don't hear anything happening behind me.
Oh, and it's also peculiar that my son hasn't shown up.
Right.
So,
and yeah, I mean, I think the family might have a little bit of inner ear issues because also in that scene, Rose is we're going to jump to the end for a second because Rose is upstairs and she has earbuds in.
Yeah.
And she's going through the top 10 NCAA prospects list.
Right.
Which, of course, is all black men.
She's also eating Fruit Loops.
I have a theory behind the Fruit Loops.
In the scariest way possible.
Now, but she doesn't hear any of the commotion, and there's a shitload of commotion at the end of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
There is people fighting, people getting hit in the head, people getting stabbed with deers.
Yeah.
She hears none of it. It takes Georgina
getting hit by a
down
car.
the road.
Yeah.
Down the not like a floor below her.
Yeah.
Not literally 12 feet below her.
Not her mom getting killed.
Nope. Georgina down the road getting hit by the car. Again, throwing it back to the deer. That actually alerts her that something's going on. Again, we got to check their hearing on that one. Yeah. The Fruit Loops, I have a theory on it. And normally I don't dive too deep when I'm watching a movie into, social subtext.
Okay.
I just watch a movie to watch a movie.
Right.
You know, I get it. I can see, okay, there's a lot of race stuff happening here, but I don't want this movie to be a fucking flag being waved. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't need it. Not everything. Some things can just talk about social issues without having to be a fucking message.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just watch it, enjoy it. Yes, there's some other meanings to it, but you don't have to make it the fucking, the poster child for race relations.
Right.
However, knowing Key and Peele and their phenomenal show they had on Comedy Central and how subtle they are at times with the race stuff.
Yeah.
The Fruit Loops.
Okay.
Glass of white milk and the separated colored
Yeah.
cereal.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because I mean, on the surface, again, you're watching it, and at this point, she's in on it, and
Yeah.
she's eating that cereal like a serial killer.
Yep.
She's literally, and not even just like taking a Fruit Loop and popping in her mouth. No,
She's biting it.
biting a Fruit Loop, as in like, I'm just going to take half this loop.
Yeah, right.
And then sipping milk through a straw like a psychopath would.
And then another dear reference in that particular scene, she has all of the photos of the couples that she's brought here.
Yep.
All on the wall behind her, like deer head trophies.
Yep.
So it's just
Which again, did she add those that night?
I think
Because that was the room that Chris and Rose were sleeping in, correct?
Right, and
So it's like, does she just take that shit down when she brings a guy over?
I think her parents do. I think her parents take them down, and then those are her trophies, and she puts them back up when
And hides them in the worst way possible, but with an open cubby door.
Yeah,
we'll get to the photos.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're meeting the parents.
Yep.
And
We find out that Rose's mother is a psychiatrist
who deals in hypnosis.
Because we find out that Chris is a smoker. Or we already knew that he was a smoker, but she can hypnotize him and he won't want to smoke anymore.
And again, we get introduced to the smoking thing because Rose throws his cigarette out the car window.
Right.
Which again, there's a lot of on the surface and then, like I said, reflecting back on shit.
Right.
Where you think, oh, well, she's a girlfriend that doesn't want her boyfriend to smoke.
Right.
Okay, it happens.
Yep.
I used to smoke. Most of my girlfriends hated it. It was what it was.
Yeah.
So I got that, but then as you start to get into it, oh no, they don't want him smoking
To mess
to
up his
fuck up
lungs.
the pristine body, the pristine vessel that they're going to give to this other person.
Right.
So the mother tries to lure him in to hypnosis through the quit smoking thing.
Right.
He's not buying it. But
Yeah.
again, he does it in like the coolest way. He's just like, no.
I'm good.
I'm like, everything he does is de-escalating situations,
Right.
Which again is
Non-confrontationally.
it makes it's one of those things you would think is very normal, but in movies,
Yeah.
it was so weird because you expect everything to build to some kind of confrontation with a character like this,
Right. You know, when you're writing a scene, every scene has some sort of conflict and resolution inside the construct of that scene.
Right.
And for this character, and this is where I think that the improv background of Peele comes into play, because in an improv scene, you don't want to be adversarial, because if you are adversarial, you don't move the plot forward.
Right.
And so all of these are very much agreeing without agreeing.
Right.
All of these scenes. And so he's taking the information and
He's reading everybody.
Right, and he's working around it.
Right.
And so it's very different in a movie sense because, oh, no, this is weird. I'm getting mad and I'm leaving for no reason.
I'm going to just start yelling. I'm going to get very aggressive, which is what we've been trained as moviegoers.
That's what's going to happen.
That's the character. That's where this is going. But no, it's just
And he never does.
never blows up.
Until the end.
Right. He's a guy with like an amazing amount of patience that you don't see in movies.
Right.
Like, it's a very relatable character in that sense where he's just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make the most of it. Girlfriend's parents, they're weird, whatever. All right, I'm just going to deal with
He's
it.
just a guy.
We're just here for a weekend. It is what it is. We're going to get home and everything will be cool and I'll never have to see these people until the wedding. You know what I mean?
Right.
One of those types of things where
Yeah.
you just see it like, just be cool. Occasionally go sneak a smoke. I'll be all right.
Right. Yeah, right.
So as we're we're taking the tour of the house. Bradley Whitford is touring Chris through the house.
Yep.
He's talking about his parents and stuff, which are Rose's grandparents. Again, very subtle reference to her dad losing in the qualifying to Jesse Owens.
Yeah.
And he slides the line as a throwaway line, but again, much reflecting. Yeah, he's almost over it.
Yeah.
In the present tense. And it's one of those things that the conversation continues rolling on, so your brain doesn't pick up because we haven't been introduced to these characters yet.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Maybe Granddad is alive, something like that.
Yeah, he might have.
He still hasn't gotten over something along. It was a line kind of like that.
Right.
Which, of course, we learn later on why he said it that way. And then he talks about his mother and how she loved cooking, and this was her kitchen, and we left a part of her in the kitchen.
And,
Reveal Georgina in a fucking great performance, creepy as hell. The actress's name is Betty Gabriel.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Unbelievable. I don't know what I know her from, and I'm looking at her IMDb, but I think it's one of those faces. The only thing I would have seen that she was in was The Last Purge movie.
Okay, yeah.
So she really, I think it's more that she looks like one of the girls from Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's where the connection is, but my God, she did a fantastic job.
Yeah, she was fantastic. She was very, very scary.
She played inner tension better than I think I've ever seen anyone do.
Yeah.
Because there was just, as we learn, there's two people fighting for this body.
There are.
In each person's head in the movie.
Right.
They have not only the physical vessel, if you will.
Hey, guys.
But
the real
also
person.
The real person who has been abducted, and we learn is it's more of a body swapping, invasion of the body snatchers type of thing, which is why I get it that they're using hypnosis because it's an easy thing when in reality, because saying mind control would have just been too on the nose.
Yeah, right.
But
then
it's more mind control.
It is. Well, they're literally swapping brains.
Exactly. They're basically taking, I think, it's something along the lines of like 95% of the brain is the white person that buys this or whatever,
Right.
or wins the lottery, the weird bingo game.
Yeah. The auction.
And then like 5% is still the person, and that person lives in the sunken place,
right,
where he can. It's almost like watching the worst television show ever because
you're
trapped.
Yeah, you're having this little tube TV monitor,
and it's almost like they're watching a tube TV from 20 feet below.
Yeah,
and you just can't do anything.
Right.
Which fantastic. It was again the originality of this movie.
Right.
I'm just like, wow, that is a pretty savvy way to do body swapping.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it explains it in a great way, right? Where it's like, look, we need you to partly be in there because you're the original person.
Because you need to still have control of the whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Or it could just be a weird torture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could just be that.
It's just really weird.
They're still, I mean, they are crazy people, let's be honest.
Right. And so it's very interesting. It was very interesting because everybody did have like an internal struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that was swapped.
Yep.
And we see it later in the movie.
Now, Georgina seems to be the one struggling the most.
Yeah.
Now we learned that she has been inhabited by Bradley Whitford's mother.
Right.
And I believe it's Walter.
Yeah,
Walter
is the other one.
And Walter is inhabited by Bradley Whitford's father.
Right.
And I guess just to keep them around, they're kind of their slaves.
See, I think that this is just for appearance for this weekend.
So every other day
they're just wandering around the house.
They're having tea with mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just normal grandparents, but they have to put up this illusion.
Weird.
That they're.
And it's a weird illusion to want to put up.
Yeah.
To meeting your daughter's black boyfriend.
Right.
Here's our servants.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not that they're meeting the black boyfriend. It's that they're luring another body.
Oh, I understand what they're doing, but to make that like, why couldn't they just be friends?
Oh yeah, right.
It would probably drop his guard a hell of a lot more. Like at the party when he runs into Andre.
Yeah, right.
His guard gets dropped immediately. He's like, oh, it's good to see another familiar face.
Yeah, right.
And go on.
I think it's because the grandparents live in the house. And you can't.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, I just. I get why they did it for the storytelling purposes, but it's also very weird.
Yeah.
You know, if there's something in your ancestry that really strikes a chord,
Yeah.
having them represent that,
Yeah.
like they could have just been house guests,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and
Yep.
it probably would have been very cool. You
Right.
know what I mean? But it was something I thought about today after watching it. Because Georgina is struggling so much without any real triggers, like we learned from Andre, if you flash a flash,
Yeah.
it kind of it almost pushes the pause button on the white person inhabiting them and lets their true self come through for
Right.
a moment, almost in a seizure-like way. But Georgina isn't experiencing any of that, and she's still clearly struggling the most, which made me think, over time, is there more of a coming together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're obviously the oldest too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which still a little weird because there was pictures of Allison Williams with both of them in a very recent photo.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, did the grandparents just fucking die? Like a month ago?
Well, I don't think they ever died.
But you know what I mean? Like, well,
Right.
I mean, they had a bit, because he was old in the video that we see later on.
Right.
He
yeah.
had to be pushing 100 by the point that they pulled his brain out.
Well, I wonder, right. And I wonder if this was the first time they've done it.
Or they just keep moving brain. Maybe that's also it.
You know,
That maybe that's why there's so much struggle if you move the brain from body to body
yeah,
to body.
because the idea is that black is in fashion is what we hear a lot. Is that
Someone
know,
said it straight out to him.
right? It's like it's in
He
fashion.
he says right to Chris, "Oh, black is in right now."
Right, and so it's like,
Which makes me wonder: are there white versions
yeah,
of these types of things when black wasn't so much in fashion?
Right.
Because they've clearly been doing it since
Forever.
Rose and her brother were kids.
right,
And who knows how long before that they were doing it. What did he call it? Is it coagula?
yeah.
I kept wanting to say
coagula.
Caligula, but
Right,
you know,
right.
and
Classic.
yeah,
yeah. Well,
But-
that's what I thought it was originally
Because
too.
I'm like, really? Huh? Roman orgies. All right, cool.
yeah,
Classic mix-up.
Yeah, classic. So maybe there are, like, maybe some of the white people at the party were actually weirdly inhabited, transformed people. I don't know what to call them. Not zombies, body swapped, whatever.
snatched,
Yeah, coagulas.
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 Yeah.
Let's just go with what they gave us, and
Yeah, right.
because it feels very much like the black thing is new to them,
Right.
and based off of Allison Williams' photos. While there is probably a dozen or so boyfriends and girlfriends in the box that they find,
Right.
it hasn't been going on very long because she looks. I mean, obviously, the picture was probably taken 2 days before they filmed, but
Right.
she looks like current day Rose.
Right. And I
It's
wonder.
not like she's 16.
Well, it's like, and I wonder if other people have come and then we just didn't see them. Like they did the surgery for somebody else.
Well, they
and
had to because I mean there was a ton. Like I said, there was about a dozen
Yeah.
black boyfriends in that box,
Right.
and they all weren't at the party. There was only one.
Right.
The most recent one, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I get, but also it's one of those things. Like, yeah, she's been luring people for this community, so it's not like they all get together on Sundays. It's mostly just the people who want the new body.
Right.
So if they already have their guy,
They don't need it.
they're good. They're having Sunday dinner somewhere else. But there is a whole community of these body swapped.
Right.
A whole bunch of dudes that have to wear hats
Yeah, they
because
gotta.
they got that big ass scar on their
Yeah.
forehead. He was not a good plastic surgeon.
No, he
those
was-
scars were gnarly.
gnarly. And her hair moves in that car, and you're like, it looked like she was morphing almost,
Yeah.
like into something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is terrifying.
But phenomenal performance. Like how she's not actually nominated is almost an insult.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the performance was so good.
Yeah. See, and that's a key to a supporting actress.
Very much. She would. No problem with her getting nominated for that if she was.
Yeah.
There would be no problem, and probably would have won at least one of the awards. Maybe not the Oscar,
But maybe a Golden Globe.
Golden Globe, or SAG award.
Yeah.
Definitely, probably would have been up for the acting award.
Right. Yeah. So then, Chris, he ends up getting hypnotized by the mother
Almost by accident.
by accident.
Okay, so let's before we get there, because he goes outside for a cigarette in the middle of the night.
That's right.
He goes outside for a cigarette, and Walter, who at this point we only think is their farmhand,
their groundskeeper,
something, yeah, Farmer Willie, whatever he is. So he's running full steam ahead.
Yeah.
Which, of course, now looking back on it, we know is reference to that was
He's
making
the
reference.
track star.
The grandfather was a track star, so that's what he does. He got a body so he could still live through his track days.
Yeah, he's almost over it.
Yeah, almost. He's still running full steam ahead every single night, and that's his exercise, as he so softly said.
Oh, so creepy.
I love chopping wood.
Yeah,
nobody likes chopping wood, even wood choppers.
Yeah, the inflection in the way that they both speak, him and
psychotic.
It's amazing,
and it's so
and that's directing.
Uncomfortable,
right? And that's directing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tangible example of why he was such a good director. Is that
it's amazing? This is his first movie,
right?
And not to go too far off, but I've also heard that recently he said he's thinking of retiring as an actor and just directing.
Yeah.
Which and that brings me to something that I wanted to talk about earlier. Brilliant move not casting himself in this movie.
Yes,
because he very easily could have. And the studio would have had no problem with him playing Chris, or at the very least the best friend.
Right.
Which I could have seen him as the best friend.
Yeah, if you're gonna direct, that's my personal opinion. If you're gonna direct, don't put yourself as the lead, because
it's a lot.
That's
to carry.
too much. That's too much if you're directing and the lead, and you also don't have any checks and balances in terms of your performance,
sure,
right? Because you think you're doing a good job, but it might not read on camera,
right.
And you might get into the editing room and be like, "Wow, I didn't like that,"
right?
And I would have given myself.
Why didn't somebody tell? Oh, I was the director.
I was the director. Whereas if you're the comic relief,
the sidekick,
you're in it for a couple of scenes. You can trust yourself to do that.
And while he probably would have done a very, very good job in it, I can't see anybody but the guy who played Rod. Rod.
Well,
you know
and again, both of these guys are just very relatable dudes.
Laurel Howery again.
Yeah.
Laurel. Lilrelhowery. Laurel Howery.
Right.
And a lot of tough names in this one.
Yeah. But none of these people are big people.
Oh,
right?
No, absolutely not.
And that's part of it.
Allison Williams, well, I mean the parents probably, but Allison Williams, as far as the lead cast, was probably the most popular one, and really all she's known from is Girls.
Right.
You know?
Right. So,
but I mean, they got Bradley Whitford, Catherine Keener, who are huge.
Right.
Stephen Root playing another blind character.
Yeah,
which is just awesome.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, Brother Rothel, I like that. Let's just do that.
Let's just do that. Yeah.
So where were we? Okay, so it's hypnosis, right?
Right.
So that whole thing outside attempting to have a cigarette was probably the worst choice ever for him.
Yeah.
He gets run at full blast, and the guy literally just makes a hard right into nothing. And then he turns around, and Georgina's there,
in the window,
all wonky-eyed, but we realize she's just looking at her own reflection.
Right.
Creepiest fucking house ever.
Oh, it is.
Like, at that point, I'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm walking. I'm calling a fucking Uber.
Yeah.
You know?
Goodbye. I can't do this.
It's one of those things. While he did have a Windows phone,
he had a Windows phone,
which doesn't even exist anymore. It's not even a thing. But God bless them, they probably paid some money. Yeah. So they helped get the movie made. So good for them.
Or they knew that it wasn't a thing anymore, so they wouldn't get sued if they used it.
But it's one of those things you really feel in certain movies. They take liberties with current culture and society. Like, I don't believe Uber exists. They mention taxi quite a few times.
They say Uber.
Do they say Uber?
They say Uber.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Because I mean,
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you just?
Yeah, Rose. Because
at a certain point, but like, I'm out. I'm Ubering my ass the
when
fuck outta
she's
here.
having the conversation with the best friend, she says he takes a taxi, and he goes, "What's the name of the taxi company?" And then she responds with, "Or maybe it was an Uber."
Okay.
And so that's why she doesn't.
Okay.
That's why.
So it does exist.
Yeah.
So then, okay. So
also, that would be the most expensive cab or Uber.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird is just happening.
Well, it's like, hey, take me to a bus stop or a train station.
Take me 20 miles down the road and just get me away from this.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to get me to an urban area.
City limits. Take me to city limits. I don't give a shit where it is and which direction. Just get me out.
Yeah. I just need to be away from these people.
So we're back in the house. Catherine Keener.
Yes.
Catherine Keener. I was saying Kinnear, I think.
Yeah.
That's Greg. Catherine Keener is sitting in the dark, as you do, having her tea. Again, horror movie trope, just flips the light on.
Yeah. Sit down.
Why were you smoking, Chris? Oh, I'm going to fucking bed. I can't
Yeah.
deal with this mom shit. But again, that would be my reaction or what we would expect the character to do. Fuck you, I'm out. But no, in classic, this guy...
He's going to sit
I'm
down.
just going to sit down. I'm going to appease this fucking bitch and just deal with it. Okay, I'm just going to give me a lecture about smoking, and I'm just going to go to bed. And weekend's almost over. Halfway there.
Halfway there.
Just deal with it. I just had my smoke. Weird as hell. Guy running. Creepy bitch in the window. But I'm just going to move on. Move on with my life. So he can't move on too quickly because we sit down for a little tea time.
Little tea time. And that was so subtle with the teacup causing the hypnosis.
The teacup, would that be the MacGuffin in this? Is that I know the phrase, but I'm always trying to be like, is that the right? Am I using that correctly?
No, because the MacGuffin is something that can change based on the plot and what it needs at that moment.
Okay.
So the MacGuffin is in this particular movie would be the surgery.
Okay.
Because we don't explain what the surgery is or what it does, but
we're driving to that.
But we're driving to that, and that's what's causing all of it.
Gotcha.
And so it's mind control or it's
right.
But so I wouldn't say that the teacup is.
So I was wrong this time. I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually. But the teacup is what she uses to control pretty much everybody, because we see her use it before we realize what it is. We see her do it with Georgina when they're out in the garden, and Georgina's starting to have a mental slip, if you will, and she starts, she's pouring the iced tea and just kind of the real Georgina, as opposed to the grandmother, is coming through, and she just kind of ping ping hit, and all of a sudden snaps to, and she's like, "Why don't you go lay down?" Yeah. By the way, this whole movie is just really reminding me of To Catch a Predator.
Right.
Let's just come in and have some lemonade.
Just come in and have a lemonade.
Guys, sit down and have some lemonade.
Fresh
cookies.
That or Stepford Wives. Yeah. Like, oh man, it's just
like they're just luring these dudes in. And again, we don't know how long Rose has been doing this.
Right.
She could have been baiting a bunch of perverts.
She could have.
I mean, at what point did Bradley Whitford be like, all right, I'm going to start turning my bitch out. Put her on the streets, get me some good ones.
Get me some good ones. I need some peoples.
I mean, she was probably on AIM at one point, like chatting with dudes, like, oh, I'm Rose Honey 16.
Yeah. At some point, they were, 18-year-old white guys.
Yes, exactly. Because that was in.
That was in.
That was in at the time. That was fashionable. So we sit down, and Mom starts to slyly work her way through Chris's brain. We start with talking about Mom's death.
Yep.
And putting himself in that place.
Right.
And that gets him to, where he was young, watching TV, and that puts her, that basically, now she's got a hold of him.
Yeah, now she's got her hooked.
She's in there.
Yeah,
it just takes a flick of the wrist to now control this dude.
Right. And it was so crazy watching him open up, because that's kind of the first time that we see emotion from him.
Yeah.
And it punches harder because of it.
Right.
Because he's been so cool, calm, and collected this entire time.
And they even tried to talk about his mom's death at the dinner table when the brothers first was introduced. And he's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And he was still just like, and it was one of those things, because there was so many different elements in the room. You had the weird brother talking about MMA and wanting to choke him out, which of course threw back to the opening scene.
And later.
And even like in that dinner scene where he's talking about, he's almost revealing the plot of this family, where he's like, oh, your body makeup and DNA with my training, we could make a huge,
Yeah.
It was almost like Jimmy the Greekish, but it's like,
yeah, right.
So but it was one of those things that clearly the mother had to get him alone.
Right.
To jump in his head.
Yeah. Well, and then you find out later that it's step one is getting getting the hypnosis, getting them under there. So the next day, because he finally gets up, he's just like, the funniest part is that he's like, yeah, your mom hypnotized me, but now I don't want to smoke anymore.
No, I mean, technically it works.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to get into someone's head. Oh, we're just going to cure your smoking.
Yeah.
And own your life.
And own your life. Yeah, that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. But then the big picnic is the next day. And
Creepiest picnic ever.
and yeah, man.
There's so many telltale signs of run.
Yeah.
Literally one guy says it.
Yeah, one guy literally says, "Get out.
Get out.
Get out."
Roll credits.
Yeah, roll credits. There we go. But it was just so crazy watching him go around to all of these people and
Politely introducing himself.
Yep.
I'm
and
Chris, Rose's boyfriend, and none of them were cool about it.
none of them.
They all just, whoa, look at, like, they start talking about black guys' dicks and stuff. And
Yeah.
It's just like, is it true what they say? It's like, God damn it. I haven't even had a beer yet. At least let me get a little fucked up before you start getting weird on me.
You're all the weirdest people.
Worst human beings alive. Oh, black is very fashionable. God damn it.
Yeah. Like, that was the only thing that I was like, it was so cringy
But
in that.
you felt that this is just a normal day for them.
Right.
And they just
that's-
don't care.
Right.
They know what's coming. They know he's fucked.
Yeah,
So
right. He's already here.
I mean, they could sit there dropping N-bombs and nobody would have a fucking problem because, well, he's just going to have his brain scooped out in 24 hours anyway.
Yeah.
Who cares? He's not going to remember this shit.
and if he does, he's not going to
If
be
he does,
in
we'll just use a
control.
teacup.
Yeah, he's just not going to be in control. But yeah, it was just nuts watching them. It was nuts watching them just like talk to him and talk to him and talk to him, and then it's just like, yeah.
It was as if the best way to describe it is if we had an opportunity to sit and talk with an alien.
Yeah.
He was so foreign to them.
Right.
And it's just like, this is something new. It's a new specimen. I've never even seen one of these. Let me talk to it like I've never interacted with a black person before.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That mixed with the fact that it's like, it was clearly an auction.
You must be a great athlete. Is your dick big? It's like, what?
Yeah.
I just want a fucking burger. You know
Well,
what I mean?
right. Well, it was clearly an auction too.
Yeah.
You could clearly see by the questions they were asking and her bringing
They were
him
all
around.
sizing him up.
They were all sizing him up.
Yep.
And so then, yeah, finally he meets Andre.
Yep.
And it's very weird, right?
He has
from jump.
and he has a subtle moment where when Andre turns around, where you can look again, a lot of reflecting in this movie.
Right.
Looking back on it, you can tell that was where he's like, I know him from somewhere.
Yeah, I know you. I don't know where I know you, but I know
But he's
you.
so, like I said, so physically different that I didn't even connect the dots that it was the guy from the opening scene.
Right.
He's physically different. He speaks different. He's completely shaved. He had a goatee in the opening scene. And yeah, he's just. Chris comes up as casual as can be. Oh, good to see a familiar face. And he just turns around and he's like, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's like, oh, God.
Like, oh, my God.
You're
Are
terrifying.
you the devil?
Are you the devil?
And we're introduced now to Andre, or what's he called now?
Andre 3000.
He has a name. I want to say it starts with an L. Is it Logan?
I think so.
Something like that. They do give him a different name, which is, oh yeah, okay. No, it's actually his middle name. According to his credit, Lakeith Stanfield played Andre Logan King.
Okay.
So maybe, or maybe Logan was just what they threw in there just because they call him that so much. So we're introduced to Logan's wife.
Yeah.
Who is probably, let's say, a heavy-set white woman 30 years his senior.
Yeah, that sounds
There you
about
go.
right.
Okay. Is that PC enough for 2018?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying my best
Yeah,
here.
you're doing good.
I don't want to get us kicked off, you know.
Yeah, right.
I don't need to take a suspension from NAI Pop.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Be devastating.
Bill would have
Financially.
A nice Bill would go fucking Fallon again.
Yeah.
I am going to Fallon again.
Oh, that
Oh,
that
God.
movie shows off for a week. Are you going to Fallon again? How do you
She
get
won tickets.
How? How?
I
I put in for Saturday Night Live 2 years
well,
ago.
Saturday Night Live's
still-
impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
No,
they have a full
it's
house
impossible.
every week.
It's impossible because it's only like 10 shows a season.
Yeah.
And there's only 250 seats in the studio.
Yeah.
And you have to submit through email.
Yeah.
And if you submit more than one under a household, they disqualify you. If you have one in the last 6 months, they disqualify you. If you send more than one email period, they disqualify you.
See, how have I not won? I sent one email
Yeah.
2 years ago.
You gotta like make up some crazy story. Be like, I'm dying, and my dying wish is to go to SNL.
Yeah.
Damn it. I am far too
Yeah,
perfect.
SNL's impossible. I submit every year. I never get anything.
Yeah, but you just said you would get disqualified if you submit more than once.
Every year, like once a year.
Maybe that's it. I got to submit again.
Yeah, you gotta submit again.
They open it. I think it's like August 1st to August 31st is the submission window.
So many fucking rules.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's stupid.
So many rules. Anyway, back to the party.
Right. So
back
finally,
to the worst cookout ever.
Yeah. So finally, Andre freaks out because he takes a picture of him.
Okay, yeah. So, that's just it. So he comes again in between. We missed another really important part. He goes into the house to get his phone because he's just met Andre, and he thinks he knows him from somewhere, but he doesn't know. So he's got to go call his buddy. So he goes into the house, and everyone's kind of milling about. It's a little bit of a mixer, but he goes straight up the stairs to the bedroom. And they all just stop on a dime and watch and listen. And again, it's so uncomfortable.
Right.
This movie makes you so uncomfortable in so many different ways.
Right.
So they're all, and it's the whole fucking time.
All of them.
The whole time he's upstairs, they're all just sitting there.
Right. Right. And that really drives home the point that it's like, they're here for him.
Something bad is going to happen.
Yeah, but and everybody's in on it.
Right. And that's just, there's not a single person that doesn't want a piece of him.
Yeah.
So he goes upstairs. His phone is unplugged again. His phone keeps getting unplugged because the battery's draining down. He tries to charge it.
Right.
And it keeps getting unplugged. So he feels that Georgina's behind this.
Yeah.
Which she probably is. Or just Rose is unplugging
Somebody.
it. Somebody keeps unplugging. Somebody doesn't want him to contact TSA Rob.
Yeah.
Or Rod, whichever one.
Yeah, they don't want the TSA.
They don't want, because the TSA get shit done. So he goes upstairs, grabs his phone, still got a little bit of juice in it, comes back downstairs, and as soon as he walks out, Bradley Whitford introduces him to like 7 white guys at rapid fire.
Right.
This is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. One guy's a Chinese guy. This is so-and-so. And he has the best response. It's literally the same thing I say when I meet a handful of people. Too many names, but nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember you. It's so great. And it's so, like, again, very relatable.
He's just a guy.
He's just a dude, and he's just trying to get through the fucking weekend.
Yeah.
And immediately the Chinese guy steps up and asks him something about, is being African. He's actually uses the term African American.
Yeah. What's the advantages?
Advantages or disadvantages of being African American. So, and he says something else. It was a very thick accent, and I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to deflect, Chris kind of tries to bring Logan or Andre into the conversation and ask him. He's like, so why don't you give him your opinion? How do you feel it is being African American? You know, almost very sarcastic way, actually.
Right.
But in that dry, sarcastic way and Logan just kind of, everything has been wonderful.
Whoa.
Why is he like that?
Yeah. Gross.
So, Chris. So as Logan starts describing how wonderful his life is, Chris is trying to slide in the most obvious, taking a picture of somebody. Like he's not even
trying.
You can tell the actor is trying to act like he's being sly about it, but he's literally holding the thing up and going like this as he's trying to hit the button instead of just, one-handing it.
Yeah, right.
Don't mind me, I'm reading a text. Click. Oh, and your fucking flash is on.
Yeah, right. In the middle of the day.
This part of it was just like, come on.
And the worst part is hey, you're a professional photographer.
Seriously.
You would never use a flash.
Who keeps the flash on, first of all?
Yeah.
Like, you turn the flash on your phone in emergencies when it's literally pitch black out and you don't have a Google Pixel. Okay?
Right.
That's the only time you're turning your fucking flash on.
Right.
And he has his on in broad daylight. It's not even on auto, which wouldn't activate it. It's literally on.
Yeah,
which means this
on.
professional photographer takes pictures with his phone with the flash on all the time.
All the time.
He's not a professional photographer.
Yeah.
He is as amateur comes.
Right.
So of course it was accidental because you can tell in his face he's like, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah.
But he accidentally uses a flash as he's taking a picture of Logan, and it basically releases Andre, puts the old man in the back burner for a second, because you can see even the cool thing they did with the eyes.
The eyes, right. They get all milky.
Yeah, and you get this weird, like, I'm sure if you had, like, the clearest of clear 4K HD and you zoomed way the fuck in, what I think this is you're actually, because what it looks like is when Chris is in the sunken place looking up,
right,
and you can kind of see the people, I believe what you're actually seeing in their eyes is him getting closer to the front.
Yeah, right.
So if you were able to zoom in and actually watch just his eyeball on screen, you would see the real Andre coming forward to the eyeball.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And he comes through, bloody nose.
Yep.
and just starts yelling, "Get out!
Yeah.
Get out! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out of here!" In the most spastic way possible.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's the character we all thought would be in this movie.
Right,
You know what
he
I
is.
mean?
He really is.
What we don't understand is he's been trapped.
Yeah.
So this is like his moment of freedom.
Right.
And just immediately goes right after Chris, get out, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. And of course is hauled away very quickly.
Very, very quickly.
Very quickly.
And then has the longest explanation as to what is going on.
Georgina has one too about the cell phone bit.
Right.
They are the worst liars in the history of liars.
Oh, yeah.
Like, someone needs to program lies into these white people's heads
Oh,
because
I
they
know.
are terrible.
Awful.
Like, Georgina's like, I was cleaning in here and I unplugged your phone by accident and I didn't want to bother your equipment any further, so
Right.
I left it unplugged where it was, but they also might have gotten wet, so I moved it over. It's like, just say sorry.
Yeah. Right. Well, the other thing too is it's just like you're not physically old enough
Right.
for you to not know what a cell phone
I
is.
didn't know what this device was.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, that's the old woman talking.
That is the old woman talking. That doesn't know what a cell phone is.
Right.
But yeah, it's very much just like red flag right away.
Well, just the fact that she's sitting there smiling and crying at the same time, every part of, again, wonderful performance.
Yes.
The inner tension you're feeling with her in that performance was fucking brilliant. And she's just sitting there with the biggest psycho smile
Yeah.
and the lone tear coming down, and she's just like, ah.
Yeah, right.
I literally have two people pulling at my brain.
I know. Oh God. Yeah, and so he ends up getting the picture to TSA Rod.
Send it to TSA Rod, who instantly calls him. He knows exactly who this motherfucker
He
is.
does. And he's like, this motherfucker's been missing.
He was the one that was banging Veronica. It's like, I love TSA Rod.
Yeah.
I love him.
TSA Rod's
He's
great.
everyone's best friend.
He is everyone's best friend.
Sitting there chilling in the apartment with the dog. Now, there was a lot of things in that apartment that I didn't have the time to delve into, but there was a note on the back of one of the cameras.
Okay.
And I just caught it today, and I don't know what it says, but it's one of those things that I bet if you go back, there's something in there like, Rob, don't fucking touch my goddamn camera.
Right,
one
so-
of those types of things. Like, because he had to remind him, don't feed the dog human food. He's got IBS.
Right.
You know, all this other stuff. It's like, I bet there was Post-it notes around there that were just like, Rod, don't fuck with my camera.
Yeah,
Rod,
right.
don't touch this. Only use this remote. Don't fuck with my you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Rod knows exactly who it is.
Yeah. And he immediately goes on the case.
And yeah, he gets into it because that's what white people be doing.
Yeah.
They're hypnotizing him.
And getting them to sex slaves.
He goes down a whole weird Jeffrey Dahmer
Dude,
route.
that was so funny. The Jeffrey Dahmer tangent that he goes on. They were coming over to suck some dicks. They didn't know their heads would be gone. And they were still going to suck some dicks.
Decapitated dickhead. It's like, wow. I just found out a lot about Jeffrey Dahmer I didn't really process when I first heard about Jeffrey Dahmer, but now it's like I really want to Google that guy.
Yeah, right.
You know, I want to. Where's a Jeffrey Dahmer movie
I'm
where
pretty
he's
sure it's coming out.
sucking decapitated head dick?
I'm pretty sure that's coming out.
And he still fucked the head. It was weird.
Somebody weird's playing him.
Really?
Yeah.
They did a made-for-TV one. I want to say Jeremy Renner played him.
It's either Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer. One of the two. They're
Kind of
getting
the
a
same
movie.
person.
They are kind of the same person.
Throw Ed Gein in there and with a Gacy guy, and you
Yeah,
pretty
sure.
much have a
Yeah.
You have the Expendables of fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Or the greatest South Park episode ever.
Yep.
When they have to
When they're
make
playing the
cake.
Stooges.
They're playing the Stooges because
Yep.
they have to make a cake for Satan's Super Sweet 16.
And it's a Ferrari cake.
They want to make it, but they couldn't make a Ferrari cake, so they made an Acura cake. Oh, God.
Ruined the party.
So goddamn
That was
funny.
a wonderful episode of South Park. How did we get here?
The mass murderer.
Oh, the Dahmer thing. Yes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer.
So immediately Rod goes on the case, and he's Googling. By the way, we haven't been able to figure out how to do Google right in movies.
No. Well,
The results are always terrible. Like if you look at the actual screen,
yeah.
and of course the movie is going to focus on the one result that they want to show you. But if you slow it down and start reading those other results, it's just wackiness.
The funny thing is you ever watch Cinema Sins?
Yes.
And so whenever there's a
break it
newspaper,
down. Yep.
there's just a generic stories. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Google searches.
I was an extra in the movie Sex Drive. Is that
yeah.
with Cameron Diaz?
Okay, yeah.
Is that the right? Is it
that
called
the-
Sex Drive?
I think
Sex
so.
Tape. Sex
Sex
Tape.
Tape.
Sex Tape.
Yeah,
they filmed it at what was the CBS radio building, and I was an extra in it.
Okay.
And they made up what still is the AMP studio, AMP 103, and they made it up to be this fictitious radio station.
Yep.
And they set designed the fuck out of the place, adding cork boards and post-it notes and stuff. So I was walking around, and I worked there at night too. So I'm walking through the set, and I'm just taking little pictures of it, because what fascinated me was all the notes on this cork board in the back wall of the studio.
Right.
Literally, they all said, unimportant, not going to be on camera, nobody's fucking reading this. It was hilarious.
'cause that's exactly
to
what
go
I would
through
do.
all these little notes that you just need a chicken scratch on.
You just need, like, I'm surprised that it isn't just AFBD. AFBD.
Some of it was. Some of it was just scribbles.
Yeah.
The
the
smaller the print, the less there was.
It's gonna be.
But it was funny. This is not
Yeah.
going to be seen on camera. Nobody
Right.
cares. Nobody's reading this. Who the fuck, and it's just
Right.
random cursing about. It's
Yeah.
like someone had a lot of fun or just hated their life.
It's
Either
both.
way.
It's both. The fact that you needed that, because you do need that corkboard in the background with writing on it.
It needs to look lived in.
Right. Oh God, that's that poor set designer that had to do
Oh,
it.
come on. You know the intern was doing
The
it.
set design PA.
He wasn't
more,
getting paid. That's why he was so angry.
more specifically, the set design PA who's making $8 an hour.
Oh, God. And just hating life because he has to work till 4 a.m. making this stupid fucking
Yeah.
thing for a scene that's probably going to be cut from the movie.
I know. It's not even going to be in the movie.
Nope. It wasn't because I was cut.
It's not even going to be on camera.
No.
Like you know that it's not going to be on camera.
Like, to the point you're actually writing, this is not going to be seen.
Right.
Nobody cares about my
It's
work.
because I literally need out of focus words.
Right.
That's all I need.
That's all I need. So we're doing the Google search with Rod, and he's getting all the info. Apparently, Andre was a jazz musician.
Yeah.
That much we find from Google.
Right. Yeah, well, because everybody that they're abducting
Has some talent.
has some talent.
And they're abducted for a specific reason.
And so we find out later why Chris is abducted. He's a photographer. So they're not just taking random people. It is a little calculated.
I mean, she ends the movie by Google searching top 10 NBA prospect or NCAA prospects.
Right.
There's specific reasons. It's not just grabbing dudes off the street.
Right. Yeah.
Despite the fact the brother literally grabs dudes off the street.
Yeah, right. He just grabbed a jazz musician off the street.
Right. So where are we?
So
I keep getting lost in my head.
yeah, so we find out that he's a thing, and so he wants to leave. He's like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, that's his first, we got to go. I don't care how apologetic this guy is. Weird shit's happening. My buddy just told me he's an abducted dude.
Yeah.
Sex slaves.
Yeah, we gotta get
Dahmer.
out of here.
I got to get out of here.
Right, I got to get out of here. And that's where he finds all of the pictures.
Right.
And so that's where things really start to go haywire, because
He finally starts escalating situations as
Right.
opposed to de-escalating.
right, and he's like, we got to get out of here. Where are the keys? Where are the keys? Why can't you
Rose,
find
where's the keys? Rose, give me the keys.
And-
You get to the door.
Yeah.
Psycho brother with his lacrosse stick. This guy he is a wacko.
Yeah.
And has no problem being upfront and honest about his wacko-ness.
Oh, yeah.
He might as well wear the T-shirt "Let's get weird" because
Yeah.
it's just gonna get fucking.
It's going to get weird.
And
so
Chris is standing at the door.
and-
Allison's on the steps looking for the keys.
yeah.
Brother is guarding the door with a lacrosse stick,
And the parents are there.
and then the dad creeps in, leans against the fireplace, looking into the fire,
Right.
and talking to Chris across the room.
Yeah.
And it's just the most bad shit's gonna happen, and I
Right.
can't avoid it.
And he knows it.
And the brother starts swinging the goddamn stick at him.
Yeah, and he tries to.
And
Yeah,
he's still just trying to get out of there. He's just like, hey.
Yeah, I'm just trying
he's
to
not
leave.
He's not gonna attack back.
right. I just need to leave,
And then clink clink,
and then he's out.
he's out.
Yeah, and then he tries to. He gets told wakes up strapped to a chair,
Yep.
and when we find him,
That was the reveal. Rose was in on it, by the way.
Right.
Also.
Oh,
when
yeah.
she pulls the keys on, goes, I'm not going to give you the fucking keys.
Yeah, I can't give you the fucking keys. And so he wakes up strapped to the chair, and we basically get the exposition portion of this.
The Caligula.
Yeah, where it's like, this is what the surgery is, this is what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and this is what's going to happen to you.
Played through a very old VHS tape of Grandpa and the
Yeah,
family.
right? And so now he basically tries to claw at this thing and comes up with a very ingenious solution.
I have a little nitpicking, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I have one too.
Yeah.
He
So basically we're getting to the climax of the movie. So the brother comes down to collect him because also through this exposition TV, Stephen Root is seen on the screen.
Yeah. He has purchased the body.
He's the guy, and he explains that he doesn't give a shit what color you are. I wanted you for your specific set of talents.
Right. You're a photographer. I'm an art dealer.
And I'm blind.
So
I want your eyes.
Yeah.
And your talent for photography. And we realize Stephen Root is in a hospital chair, a hospital bed, it looks like. And we start to see the father start to go to work on the top of Stephen Root's head.
Yeah, he's going to cut him out because he's a brain surgeon.
Right. And then the brother comes down to collect Chris.
Yep.
All the while, the TV keeps flashing the teacup to knock him out or put him to sleep or whichever way possible. And as the brother unstraps him, Chris gets up and bludgeons him with a
bocce ball.
Bocce ball, thank you.
It's a bocce ball.
And
the most of the whitest of the yard
as you do, rich people.
Yeah, rich bocce
rich
ball.
white people. So he bludgeons him. What we believe is to death. I mean, there's a lot of blood flowing out of his head.
Oh, yeah.
And
he at least has a concussion.
Right. So we realize, again, as Chris was scratching at the couch, the chair, he pulls the cotton out of his ears.
Right.
Now, my little nitpick with that, ingenious way, two things. How the fuck did he get his arm up there to put the thing in?
Right. How did you
actually, because he was strapped to the chair.
Right.
So how did you get your arm to your ear to insert the cotton?
Right.
Okay. And two, why take it out if you know that she can knock you out?
At any time.
At any time.
She comes up behind you, ding, ding.
I would have stuffed more into my ears.
Right. Because I also don't need to hear if I'm murdering people.
Honestly, I think it would have played a lot cooler through his no sound.
Right.
I always, when movies do that, like they drop like in like an action scene or something and just drop
a bomb goes off and then it's just...
Oh, we did Face Off.
Right.
Where the whole action scene plays out with Somewhere Over the Rainbow playing.
Yes.
Fucking wonderful.
Yeah, that's
It was
awesome.
a beautifully shot scene and score, all that's great.
Right.
And I thought it would have been cool, but we didn't need it. Anyway, so Chris is on the loose in the house.
Yes.
Makes his way upstairs. This is where Dad's death, again, irony.
So ironic.
So he kills Dad with a deer. Kills Mom with a letter opener.
Yep.
Again, I find the lack of verbal aggression from Chris so refreshing in the movie.
Yeah.
Like when she stabs him, he doesn't. It's not like mother. He's not.
Yeah. He's
excessively
not
yelling, cursing, all that stuff, which would have fit very. It would have fit,
especially at that point.
It would have been so common, like people would have accepted it because that's what we've been trained through movies that's what happens. You get stabbed with a thing, motherfucker comes out of your mouth.
Yeah,
at a very loud, angry tone. But nothing. He just sits there and forces the knife down and stabs her and kills her with it.
Right.
Let's see where else. This is also all the while Allison Williams is up
eating Fruit Loops like a psycho
with earbuds.
Yeah.
So obviously she can't hear shit.
Right.
Okay. Anyway.
So yeah,
little inner ear problem.
We
there.
have one final confrontation with the brother who comes back from the dead.
Even though there was literally a pool of head blood.
Yeah.
Not just like, a random extremity. No. A hole in his head made with a bocce ball.
Yeah.
Made a pool
heavy.
of blood.
Yeah.
But no, he's strong enough, healthy enough to choke out Chris.
Attempt to
choke him out while keeping the door closed.
Yeah.
Which that entire scene popped me off my couch because I just kept yelling, "Stab him in the leg! Stab him in the leg! Why is he? What the fuck? Why is he? He's got a letter opener. Stab him in the fucking!" And then he's not stabbing in the leg. I'm like, okay, cool.
All right, great.
Move along.
Yeah, we did it. Great.
So he steals the brother's car.
Yep.
Trying to call 911, but he's all fucked up.
Yeah.
So he can't really verbalize his. He doesn't really know where he is. He's in the country somewhere.
Yeah, I'm at a house.
I'm at a fucking house. And then runs over Georgina.
Yeah.
Which that triggers Rose to be like, oh, something might be happening. Not the massive death and noise below me.
Yeah, the scuffle that your brother and Chris just had.
Literally the end of your world happening a foot below you.
Yeah.
No.
Ugh.
Grandma down the street getting hit by a reindeer. That's what triggers, okay, some shit might be happening. So, Chris, being the guy that he is, knows that Georgina is not there, but he also can't let them continue doing this.
Right. So he grabs her, sticks.
Or is he just taking her as a trophy?
I don't know.
No, I'm joking, of course.
Maybe.
He's not that kind of psycho. He's the normal one in the movie.
Well, I think the other point too.
Rod might have taken her.
Yeah,
done
Rod-
some weird Dahmer shit to her, and
Yeah.
then kind of set her free.
Well, I think the other thing too is that he thinks that he can get.
He can save her.
He can save her.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
If
unfortunately.
you flash a camera enough,
Yeah.
something, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe if you flash the camera once.
His head was
she'll
in the
come-
right place.
Right.
Definitely in the right place. So he loads her into the car.
Yeah, and then she attacks him.
Yeah, I mean, Grandma comes through Georgina and starts attacking him. Her wig is going all wonky and
Yeah, you see the scar and-
Fucking insane.
Ugh.
So he crashes into a tree.
Yeah, kills her.
Kills her. She's dead. He's fucked up. Gets out. Bang. Oh, great. Rose has a fucking gun.
Shotgun.
A rifle, actually.
Oh yeah, it was a rifle. It was a rifle.
Good thing they didn't use a shotgun. Because there was, I forget what the hell I was watching. Varsity Blues.
Okay.
The Billy Bob scene pissed me off because as someone who knows how a shotgun is shot,
Yeah.
when Vanderbeek gets the gun, he turns around and there's a picture of John Voight like off in the distance, a good
Yeah.
20 feet away.
Right, and he takes a shot at-
blasts it with a shotgun, and it just makes the right hole as if he was point blank.
Yeah,
that's
right.
not how shotguns
No.
work. I'm sorry.
No.
So she has a rifle. Good move, giving her a rifle. That way she can actually shoot from distance.
Yep.
And it's a cringy line. But I understand it. Walter comes hauling ass up behind her, and she does the "Go get him, Grandpa," which
Yeah.
just brought me back to the awful line from Texas Chainsaw 3D when Alexander Daddario.
Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yep. When Alexander Daddario realizes that Leatherface is her cousin, and she throws the chainsaw to him and goes, "Go get him, cuz." Ew. Fucking cringy when they do shit like that. But in this one, it's not great. But in a movie that's been so great up until this point, I'm going to let it go.
Yeah.
So
It
he
also hasn't been officially said that that's her
Correct.
grandpa yet.
we kind of all figured it out
Yeah.
through all the different notes, like the running shit and the all the other bullshit. But that kind of solidifies, yes,
Right.
it is her grandparents, and he just killed her grandmother along with the rest of her fucking family.
Right.
So Walter tackles him.
Yeah.
There's a struggle about a lot of punching happening
That great Google phone.
until you get the Windows phone.
The
Come
Windows
on now.
phone. Yeah, sorry, Windows.
The non-existent Windows phone flashes him. Again, still keeping his flash on after that?
Yeah, well, I would. At that point, I now know that this stuff is going on. I'm keeping the flash on.
So he flashes him in the most clean way possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Walter turns back into whoever the hell that guy was.
Yeah.
The vessel that he is, turns around, and Stone plays it off. I'll do it. Takes the gun from Rose and blasts her in the gut.
Yeah.
Turns around, cocks it, and you're like, oh shit, did Walter come back to the surface? Nope. Bang.
Just kills
himself. Blows his own head off. And so we go back over. We realize Rose is not quite dead yet.
Yeah.
She's full of the spitty up blood stuff. Got a bullet in her belly.
Yeah, she did.
She's
dying.
she's going to die.
Yeah, she's dying.
But yeah, I would have choked her too.
Yeah, he just starts choking.
Chris
her.
just starts choking her until the blue lights start.
Yeah, and then
Now, the first time you watched it,
Yep.
you thought it was the first cop.
I thought it was the first cop.
And he was definitely going to kill Chris.
Yes, that is exactly.
It was going to be the original Night of the Living Dead type of ending.
Right, and the funny thing is that the ending, that's the original end to this movie.
He goes to jail.
He goes to jail because
yeah.
he murdered this entire family.
Yep.
And nobody believes his story. And yeah, they changed it to the ending where it's Rod shows up.
TSA Rod shows up. Fucking tastic.
Yep.
How did you find me? I'm TS
Motherfucking A.
We get shit done. Yes!
And it's so great because it gives you that like upbeat moment.
It's a happy ending.
And it's a happy ending.
It's a happy ending.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. And that's the end of the movie. It's like, yes!
Yeah.
That's you end it like, that was a great fucking movie.
Right.
And like I said, I watched it for a second time this morning, and yes, it's still a great, and it's the nice thing about the layers of the movie.
Right.
It's very rewatchable.
Yeah.
You go back and you're like, fuck, that's right. they were teasing it all through all the
Right.
seeds. That's why this podcast jumped around a lot, because there's a lot of foreshadowing in this
Right.
movie.
And it's so great because it's such a concise experience. A lot of horror movies and a lot of suspenseful movies, they drag it out, right? And
It's a hard 90 minutes?
yeah,
If that?
And it just goes. It starts
Hour 44
right. So it starts
with credits.
and it just goes, and the movie is boom, 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 boom. The pacing is amazing.
We didn't need 20 minutes of Chris and Rose's
Establishing
relationship.
their relationship.
No, we get it. They're boyfriend and girlfriend. They're
Girlfriend.
packing for a trip.
And they're going
That's
to meet
it.
her parents for the first time. Hey, has some trepidation because they're a white family and he's a black guy.
As they say in porn, get to the fucking.
Right. Just
You know what I mean?
Right.
Get to the fucking. I don't want to see the pizza delivery. I want
Right.
to just see the cock and the balls.
Very, 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 very quickly do we just get into the story.
Yep, absolutely.
And everything that needs to be in there is the movie is lean. It is a very lean movie.
Yeah.
Especially in a genre of horror where there could have been 4 scenes where he
And especially in 2017, where everything's 2.5 hours long.
right, and it's just
It's
like
very easy to bloat a movie in this day and age.
he could have walked downstairs to smoke every night and one weird thing happens.
Yep.
No, we had the Georgina and the grandfather both do it in the same night, and then
Imagine
boom,
if
boom,
the
boom.
hypnosis. Imagine if they were there for a week instead of a weekend.
Right.
Very easily could have happened.
Right. And it's
And on Wednesday, she hypnotized him.
right. And so it's just like
Move it along.
We didn't need the slow build.
Nope.
We just let's get into it. This stuff's weird from Jump Street.
Exactly.
It's weird from Jump Street.
And it honestly wouldn't have been believable because they are such a weird bunch of fuckers.
Right. And it's just like, yeah, no, this is great. This is a solid, concise, tight movie.
I honestly, and again, I go back to I haven't seen the rest of the fucking movies, but for a number of reasons. Not just because it's a great movie, and not just because Jordan Peele, on his first fucking movie,
Right.
knocked it clean out of the park.
Yeah.
And not just because it was cast perfectly, and not just because, Daniel Kaluuya did an amazing job. All the actors did amazing jobs. But I want this to win an Oscar for
Right.
what it means to horror movies.
Well, right. And we talked about
As a horror movie fan, I want this to win something of substance.
we talked about this with The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Right? And The Dark Knight was such a step forward for comic book movies, and
Despite what DC's done since.
despite what DC's done since. But it's shown you that these movies can be great despite the genre or subject material.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is. This is a great horror movie. This is up there with Rosemary's Baby
Yep.
or The Exorcist,
Yeah.
which are phenomenal films. Psycho,
Yep.
right? That are
And still hold up.
right. And it's just like these are great movies. They just happen to be in this genre.
Right.
And it doesn't make it less great because
And call it a horror movie.
Right,
It doesn't need to be supernatural thriller. No,
Right.
it's a fucking horror
there
movie.
also isn't anything supernatural about it.
Right. No.
There's
it-
nothing supernatural about it.
Mystery. No, it's a horror movie.
Right,
and
it's a horror
God,
movie.
calling it a comedy is just, you're an asshole.
Right.
I mean,
Well, that's
you are just misleading people if you think it's a comedy.
Oh yeah, that's also just because the Golden Globes are so stupid in the way
know.
that they format.
But this, I mean, and I understand that the studio did it probably because of what was in competition in the drama section.
Right.
But this would have fit better in the drama section.
It would have. But again, it's so stupid. It's just like these are dramas. If it's not a drama, it goes into musical comedy and whatever.
Before we wrap up, the comedy thing reminded me of why my mother went to see Natural Born Killers in the theater.
Oh my god.
Because at that time, all she knew of Woody Harrelson was Cheers, which she was a
Oh.
big fan of, and there was an
Jesus.
ad in the paper with the tagline, "Viciously hilarious."
Oh no.
She thought it was a comedy,
Oh,
and my
no.
brother wanted to go see it, so he talked her into it.
No.
She left before the opening diner scene was done and sat in the car
Yeah.
as he watched the rest of the fucking movie.
Oh.
It was like, and she came home. She goes, "That was the worst 5 minutes of my life."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and you don't want to sit through Pulp Fiction either. I'll take him to that one.
Yeah. Oh, no. Brutal.
So that was Get Out on
Yeah.
that movie show. I think I speak for both of us when I say it should win. We're huge fans of the movie.
Yeah, and again, I go back to, I think that we have to take into account the reception of the movie, both critically and from the public. This movie doesn't have a negative response. I don't know
Right.
anybody that hasn't been like, I really liked that movie.
Right.
That's consistently been what people have said. So,
So fingers crossed
Yeah.
for the Oscars this year. I know we haven't talked about it yet, but next week I'm throwing it out there. Good Will Hunting.
Sure.
I just rewatched it on Blu-ray the other day. I was in a Boston mood, and I'm like, it's either The Town or Good Will Hunting. I popped in Good Will Hunting. I think we need to talk about that.
Yeah, let's do Good Will Hunting
because there's some really fun stuff to talk
when
about.
I lived in LA,
yeah,
one of the guys I lived with, we didn't have cable or anything. We just had a DVD player and like 5 DVDs, and one of the DVDs was Good Will Hunting, and that's all we watched.
All right, so we're gonna get into Good Will Hunting next week.
One thing I want to bring up because I think it's just really cool is I think that it doesn't come out until the end of March. Yeah, March 23rd. But Steven Soderbergh's new movie. Have you seen the trailers for this?
Which one?
Unsane.
No.
So this movie is about a woman who has a stalker and then goes to a psychiatrist because she thinks she's partly going crazy.
Okay.
They end up forcibly committing her to a mental hospital, and the stalker is there, but nobody believes her. Right? And so premise, kind of interesting. We'll see what happens. She's unsane. Okay. She's kept there against her will, but we don't know if she's crazy or if she's not crazy. The cool thing about this movie is that Soderbergh shot it completely on an iPhone.
I did hear about that.
It's all shot on an iPhone. Okay. So,
he's always been one of those guys. Like he did the movie that was shot in real time, Time Code, which wasn't a great movie, but the concept, I remember, I think I own the DVD. The concept was so fucking cool. It was kind of like the Escape from Tomorrow Disney movie where the movie's not great, but the concept is so cool. Like I had to own that.
Yeah, you had to see it because that's the I love stuff like that. The movies that are like this entire thing is one take.
Right.
Like
that Time Code. Yeah, exactly.
Right. That sort of nonsense. I love it. It's great. So when I heard that he shot this thing on an iPhone,
gonna have to check it out.
I'm pretty excited. So I've been seeing the trailers on YouTube, so I wanted to bring that up and put that on everybody's radar.
Definitely. So next week, Good Will Hunting. Make sure you follow that movie show along with myself and Liam, New Age Insiders, New Age Pop, across all forms of social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, of course, where you can see our live shows, and then wherever you find your favorite podcast, you'll find this one for audio downloads.
Yeah.
Bill, thank you as always.
Thank you. We couldn't do this show without Bill Neville.
No, we need an adult.
We definitely need an adult. Thank you very much, and we'll be on out of here. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.